The hum of the starship's engines vibrated under my feet as I stepped onto the polished metal floors of the Queen's palace. I had crossed the Seraphis Rift 100 times before, ferrying cargo between worlds, but nothing had prepared me for this. The palace wasn't like any space station or orbital citadel I'd visited. It was alive. The walls pulsed faintly with light, shifting colors in rhythm with some unseen heartbeat. Bioluminescent tendrils crept along the edges of the corridors, flickering with a kind of sentience that suggested the building itself was aware of my presence. I had been summoned, not invited, summoned. The message had been brief, mechanical yet tinged with something untranslatable in her language. Come to the private chamber. Do not delay. The alien queen herself had sent it. Queen Lysera, ruler of the Veil-born Dominion, whose fleet could obliterate entire planets if displeased. The thought of being in her presence was enough to make my pulse hammer in my ears. Yet curiosity, that foolish human trait, had driven me forward. The corridors narrowed as I followed the soft glow of bioluminescent filaments. The walls hummed beneath my fingertips, reacting to my touch with warmth. I reached a massive set of doors that seemed carved from a single piece of black crystal. The symbols etched into their surface shimmered, rearranging themselves into patterns I couldn't read. Before I could even reach for the handles, the doors slid open silently. Inside, the chamber was vast and impossibly elegant. The ceiling stretched high into a dome that reflected the light of distant stars, while the floor was a living mosaic of shifting patterns that seemed almost liquid. In the center of the room stood Queen Lysera. She was taller than a human by at least a head. Her frame lithe but powerful, and her skin shimmered with metallic sheen that reflected the ambient light. Her eyes, two swirling galaxies of violet and silver, fixed on me. "I've been expecting you," she said, her voice echoing not just in the room but in my mind. I swallowed, trying to steady myself. "You summon me?" She inclined her head, a smile playing at the corners of her lips. "Yes. Tonight, you'll understand what it means to be mine." Her words were intoxicating. I couldn't place why. They didn't feel threatening, yet the weight behind them was undeniable. The doors behind me, which I hadn't noticed close, clicked shut with definitive finality. I was trapped. "Tonight," she repeated, stepping closer, "you will see beyond the veil of your reality." I had been a cargo pilot, not a diplomat or a scholar. Yet here I was, facing a being whose very presence distorted the universe around her. My heart raced as she circled me like a predator examining its prey. Her eyes seemed to bore through layers of my mind, reading memories I didn't even realize were visible. "Why me?" I managed to ask, though my voice sounded small in the cavernous space. Lysera paused, her gaze softening ever so slightly. "Because you have the sight that the others lack. You perceive the threads of existence that connect worlds. That is rare among humans." I frowned. "Sight? I don't understand." She extended a hand, and I felt a pull in my chest, a tug at the very fibers of my being. My vision blurred, and suddenly I was no longer standing in the chamber. I was on a bridge of light that stretched between stars. Nebulas swirled beneath my feet, and constellations reformed themselves in patterns I had never seen. Threads of energy, vibrant and shimmering, connected planets, moons, and ships. And at the center of it all, a glowing figure moved. Lysera, though more ethereal, more infinite than before. "You see," she said, her voice now a melodic harmony of many tones. The universe is alive. Every choice, every act creates ripples, and you, human, are capable of influencing them. I reached out, trying to grasp the threads, and found I could manipulate them, bending them gently to alter trajectories of asteroids, redirecting the flow of energy between stars. The power was dizzying, intoxicating, and terrifying all at once. Why me? I whispered, awed, because, she said, her hand brushing mine across the threads, you can wield it responsibly, and because only you can survive the night to learn what it means to bear this knowledge. Suddenly, the vision shattered. I was back in the chamber, my hand still tingling from the residual energy. Lysra stood before me, her expression unreadable. You are not ready to command the universe yet, she said, but you are ready to understand loyalty. Tonight, you are mine, bound not by chains, but by understanding. I staggered back, my mind reeling. Yours? How can you claim that? Because power is meaningless without trust, she replied softly, and you have earned mine simply by being here. I wanted to speak, to argue, to run, but words failed me. The sheer presence of the Queen, the cosmic weight of her being, held me still. Come, she said, stepping toward a console at the side of the room. There's something you must see. The console lit up, projecting a holographic map of the Veil-born Dominion. Stars, planets, and space lanes glimmer like constellations in motion. Lysra touched one of the points, and a holographic planet rotated into view. Cities sprawled across its surface, interconnected by energy bridges that hummed with life. This is Warship Prime, she explained, the heart of my domain, and soon it will be under threat from forces beyond even my reach. I need your help to prevent its destruction. I felt a chill run down my spine. You're asking me, a human pilot, to stop a planetary-scale war? Lysra's gaze hardened. Not just any human. You survived a rift, navigated the uncharted voids, and understood threads others ignore. That makes you more than capable. I blinked, and what do I get in return? Her smile was enigmatic. Knowledge, power, understanding, and my protection. It was not an offer. It was a decree. I realized then why she had summoned me alone. No witnesses, no intermediaries. Tonight I was hers, not in the sense of possession, but in allegiance and destiny. My actions would be entwined with hers, and the threads of my life would be woven into the Veil-born Dominion itself. As the hours passed, she guided me through simulations of interstellar conflict, teaching me to manipulate energy flows, negotiate with alien species, and anticipate cosmic events. Her patience was endless, her instruction precise. The chamber became a classroom, a command center, and a crucible all at once. I began to see why the humans who encountered the Veil-born often returned in awe, or never returned at all. Lysra's mind moved at a pace that seemed faster than time itself. Ideas formed and executed before I could fully comprehend them. She was a force, a singularity of intellect and power, and yet there was a patience in her gaze that drew me in, urging me to match her stride. By the time I understood the basic mechanics of energy thread manipulation, the first ripples of the threat to Warship Prime reached us. A fleet of dark vessels had emerged from the void, bearing weapons of design I could barely fathom. Lysra's expression darkened. They are faster than anticipated, she muttered. fingers dancing across the holographic map. "We must act." I watched as she coordinated her forces, issuing commands through thought alone, the ships responding instantly. And then she turned to me. "You will lead a strike team to the forward edges of the rift. You will redirect the enemy fleet, isolate them, and protect the civilians of Reset Prime." My throat went dry. Me? I've never led anything beyond a small cargo crew. "Then you will learn," she said, her tone leaving no room for argument. "And I will be with you in thought, guiding you." The next several hours passed in a blur. I trained, planned, and then executed the mission under Lysera's guidance. I led a squadron of Veil-born ships, manipulating energy threads to corral the enemy, disrupting their formations, and ultimately forcing their retreat. The thrill of command, the exhilaration of manipulating forces far beyond human comprehension. It was intoxicating. When the last of the enemy fleet had vanished into the void, I returned to the chamber, exhausted yet exhilarated. Lysera was waiting, her form luminous in the dim light. "You have done well," she said, her voice echoing with pride. "Tonight, you prove yourself, not just to me, but to yourself." I wanted to laugh, cry, and speak all at once, but only silence came. She stepped closer, her presence overwhelming yet comforting. "You understand now," she said, "what it means to be mine. Not possession, not fear, but unity, trust, loyalty, and the courage to wield power responsibly." I nodded, finally comprehending. The doors behind me, though unlocked, didn't matter. I was hers in the only way that truly mattered. I had chosen, through action and understanding, to walk alongside her. The first rays of Reset Prime's twin suns began to pierce the chamber's dome, scattering light across the living floor. Lysera's form shimmered in the glow, radiant and infinite. "Rest," she said softly. "Tomorrow, we shape the destiny of worlds together." And in that moment, as the twin suns rose, I understood. I was no longer just a human pilot. I was a thread in the vast tapestry of the universe, bound to a queen whose power and vision transcended everything I had known. Tonight, the alien queen had claimed me, not as a prisoner, but as an ally, a partner, and a witness to the extraordinary. And so, with the hum of the palace around me, I let myself be guided into the night, knowing that the stars themselves were watching and that my life, and the life of the Dominion, would never be the same again.